Welcome to South Coast Radio, and today we are joined by one of South Africa's exciting rising pop artists, singer, songwriter, and creative storyteller Sophia Frank, known for blending glamour, emotional honesty, witty lyricism, and pop rock energy. Sophia has been making waves with her unique approach to songwriting and storytelling, from earning playlists, cover features on Spotify, to performing at major showcase events and festivals. She is quickly becoming a standout voice in South African pop music, and today we are chatting about her brand new single called Older Than You. So as we welcome Sophia, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing so good. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. That was amazing. Wow.
You're most welcome, and once again, it's really great to have you with us today on the show.
Thank you so much. This is an amazing opportunity. I can't wait to chat.
Awesome. Okay, so Sophia, for those hearing you or hearing your story for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how your journey into music began?
Okay, so I am all the way from Paarl. So Paarl's like a really small little town, like an hour from Cape Town. I grew up there. My mom plays the piano. My dad's really good at poetry and writing. And I had this conversation with my mom the other day, and I think it's like a blend of genes coming together. And then I was like, I've just loved performing and singing and dancing since I was very little. I've been writing songs ever since I can remember, and growing up, music has always been like the way that I've processed what's been happening around me. As a kid, I've been putting on little performances in my bedroom and forcing everyone at family events to kind of watch me perform. And I've just been writing. I think I wrote my first song when I was 13, and it was actually an Afrikaans song, funny enough. And then later on, I started like kind of thinking of how to process my emotions, and songwriting became less of a hobby and more of like a necessity. So it's kind of like how I make sense of the world, whether it's like friendship or dating disasters or just the weirdness of like being in your 20s. And then I like just absolutely fell in love with it.
Wow, that's really awesome to hear, Sophia. And you've also, so you mentioned artists like Hannah Montana and Avril Lavigne as influences. What was it about their music and storytelling that inspired you growing up?
So Hannah Montana is played by Miley Cyrus, and she was very young, like very, very young. And I grew up watching Hannah Montana, and I've always just been so intrigued by powerful women. And she, being so young, like she was able to do world tours and sing and just have this impact. And Hannah Montana kind of taught me that music like could be fun and theatrical, and it tells a story. Where Avril Lavigne is a little bit more messy and rebellious and unapologetic. So combining those two made me feel like it's okay to have this big personality and this theatrical way of performing, or also like having strong opinions, and both of them like really carried me through into my music, and I like to represent that as well.
Awesome stuff, Sophia. So your music often blends humor, vulnerability, internet culture, and real life experiences.
Yes.
How would you describe your artistic style in your own words?
You know, I like to think about, like, I like to joke that my music sounds kind of like a girls' group chat confession. Like, it's just, everyone's, like, honest, a little bit chaotic, funny, heartbreaking. But it's all, like, all of my music is rooted in, like, real experiences. Even if it's not my experience, like, Borderline Valentine is a song I wrote, Older Than You, like, all of these experiences comes not necessarily from mine, like, it's actually, like, from my best friend. And, like, I always like to say, like, I like to write music, not just for me, but for my girls. You know, like at the end of the day, like what do we want to hear? Like how, you know, music is about relatability. It's about storytelling. And, you know, if you look back in history, that's where music stems from. So I love blending internet culture with like humor, storytelling, because that's a lot like how a lot of us are experiencing life at the moment. One minute you're like crying, and the next minute you're making a meme about it. Like it's just about relatability, and a lot of us like just wants to escape a little bit, and I want that music to have that reality, but also that escapism, which is really important nowadays.
Great stuff, Sophia. So your debut single Overrated received great attention and even landed you on the cover of Spotify's South African rock
Yes, crazy, yes.
So what was that experience like for you as an emerging artist?
You know, it's really insane. I feel like everyone, like anyone would say this, but seeing Overrated landing on the Spotify South African rock playlist is very unreal, especially if you're brand new, because you're making, like, when I wrote that song, I wrote it in my bedroom on like a notes app and my voice recording, and seeing that being translated into the real world, it's like you don't really think about where the song might end up. So one of those moments where I stopped and thought, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't a dream anymore. And it's very validating, because this journey is very scary, and this industry isn't easy. Any creative industry isn't easy, especially in South Africa. So it really helped with like confidence to keep pushing forward, and sometimes like it makes you feel a little less lonely, because it helps you to build that community, and being an independent artist, that community is extremely important. And I mean, I've been doing this only for a year now, and even though I feel like it's going quite slow, things are moving fast, and I'm just like grateful, you know. At the end of the day, you're just like, wow, you know, seeing that someone can see your like a good friend of mine, Freddie from Freddie L, he always used to say to me, like, every time I perform, he'd say, your music that you write is like poetry, and you are like speaking it when you perform it, and also even if you put it out in a song. So seeing like loads of people, your face on like the cover, and seeing your words and your poetry like being listened to and streamed, it really makes all that lonely nights and, you know, feeling not good enough, it pushes it aside and gives you great confidence. And yeah, it makes you believe that, like, you know, dreams can come true, like Hannah Montana used to always say.
That's true. Okay, so you've also worked with several talented South African artists and performed at festivals and sold out headline shows. So what have been some of the highlights of your career so far?
So I can't believe, like, there's been so many, but I think collaborating with Aaron Elliott on Birthday Cake allowed me to experience my first music video, which was insane. It's exactly how you think it is. It's like quite stressful, but like I felt like an icon. Like I had to like smear cake everywhere. It was so much fun. That was amazing, and it's also led me to just was again on the Spotify cover art, which was incredible. Then I also did a collaboration with Sophia Frank, which was a little bit more a different type of indie sound. And collaboration, I cannot, like, if anyone's listening that is starting out in the industry, at first I was so against collaborating. I'm the only child, so it's my way or the highway. So I was like, oh, I don't know, like, I like this lyric, like, I don't want to change it. Then someone's like, no, let's do this. And collaborating at first can be quite, like, scary, because, you know, music's like how I write, it's vulnerable, and you don't necessarily want to share that. But collaborating is a way of, you know, pushing yourself forward, because without that, I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to perform with Pretty Loud at Up the Creek Festival. So collaboration, you know, something that I've realized is networking and collaboration is so important in this industry. It's who you know, and, you know, what you make of those relationships. And it's just, you know, it's really incredible to, like, walk out on a stage at a festival being like, it all started just by saying yes to someone. And every collaboration teaches me something new. It reminds me also how supportive the local music scene can be and how important it is to support the local music scene. So I think I'm just very, very lucky, and I cannot thank them enough.
Wow, that's really great stuff, Sophia. Now let's talk about your debut new single, "Older Than You." What inspired?
Yes!
What inspired the song, and where did the original idea come from?
Okay, so this is my favorite story to tell. Right, so Older Than You was inspired by, so when I was younger, I grew up listening to Selena Gomez and The Scene. Your 2000 baby, you would get it. But basically, she had an album called When the Sun Goes Down, and a song on there called Bang Bang. Now, the song is very underrated. Like, a lot of people don't really listen to the song. But it's basically, she sings about like how her new person is like so much better than her ex, basically.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my goodness, I love this idea, because usually everyone's singing about heartbreak and about or how in love they are, but not really about this performative breakup, and it's performative, culture has become very relevant right now in our society and on social media. So, it's, again, I believe in relatability, and music is to spread that. So I was like, okay, I wrote the song into 2023. I just basically wrote it as a joke. I started about thinking about how often people try to win during breakups. I moved on faster, I'm posting more, dating someone new, creating this image that they're having and this thriving moment. So the song kind of follows that mindset at first, but underneath all that confidence, there's still someone who's hurt, and at the end of the day looking for validation. And validation has become also a very big trend on social media. And at the end of the day, it's a human experience. So that's kind of the story behind Older Than You. So I decided to write a song about that, and then I decided to put a little twist in it as well.
Awesome. And just as you mentioned about adding a little twist to it, which was really interesting about the song, which was that it starts off feeling confident and playful, but then takes an emotional turn. So why was that twist important to the story you wanted to tell?
I think I personally love writing my songs with a twist. I love a story is, it's an everyday story, at the end of the day, a protagonist or an antagonist. It's culture of storytelling. But the twist was important because I didn't want the song to just stay on the surface of things. It is very easy to pretend you're completely like over somebody, but usually there's a way more complicated story underneath. And I want listeners to experience that shift from like confidence to vulnerability, because that's often what healing actually feels like. It's just being vulnerable and putting, the validation aside and looking, a little bit more deeper. And as you're listening to it, more, it also creates a bigger audience because more audience can relate to it. If you just want to sing about your new boyfriend, just listen to the first 1 minute and 30 seconds. But, if you wanted that whole experience, and, it can help you in any facet of your life. So it just makes your audience a bit broader and just connecting to more people and just experiencing again that real human experience.
Fantastic, Sophia. And going a bit back to when you spoke about collaboration, you collaborated with producer and songwriter Ben Reed on this track. What was it like? So what was it like working with him, and how did he help shape the final version of the song?
So Ben Reed, firstly, big shout out to him. He is an incredible songwriter, incredible musician, incredible producer. This is actually the first song we started working on together. And basically working with Ben Reed is because it was amazing, because he really understood the emotional journey of the song even before I knew it. So when I met him, I played him the song. It sounded very different. It was a bit more, flowy, a bit more pop, and not necessarily the rock, version wasn't there yet, but he brought in the guitars, whatever. And then he was like, "Oh, but Soph, like, there's no bridge in the song." And I was like, "Ah, girl, I'm not gonna write a bridge. Like, that's more Taylor Swift or, you know, Olivia Rodrigo's position there. I'm not the bridge queen." And he's like, "No, let's write a bridge, and let's put that twist in. Let's put that twist in of like, actually, I found a better you, but you keep running through my mind." So he's incredibly talented at knowing when a song just needs to hit a little bit emotionally harder, or when it needs, you know, a room to breathe, and when that, like, you know, that storytelling comes in. But he also helps bring out like both sides, like the playful moments, the tongue-in-cheek moments, with the vulnerable parts, and connecting the instruments and, you know, the textures and the harmonies, everything. It's just a brilliant mind, truly. And he was like, "Let's write a bridge and let's turn the song around." And I was like, let's go. And it's the song that it is today because of that.
Great stuff, Sophia. Now, the song touches on themes like rebound relationships, validation, and the way people present their lives online. Why do you think those topics resonate so strongly with listeners today?
Besides doing music, I'm also a content creator, and I also just love, you know, posting on social media and talking and yapping and, you know, posting my life on social media. And I think these type of modern dating and all of those themes resonate because social media has turned a lot of our private experience into public performances. Sure. We all see like the highlight reels and the relationship launches and the soft launches and the hard launches and the breakup glow up. It's impossible not to compare ourselves sometimes. So Older Than You really taps into that pressure to like appear okay, even when you're still healing or you're still figuring things out. And again, I take it back to being able to resonate with your listeners. We are all on social media. Yes. We all are going through modern dating. We all are open about it. We all, you know, are trying to like appear, you know, on perfect, but underneath we all are human. Sure. And I even though I like sing about like my ex and my new person, at the end of the day it still resonates because it doesn't necessarily have to be about relationships, but it can just, you know, say that like people out there can feel the same and can, you know, can help each other heal in that way.
Great stuff, Sophia. And when people hear Older Than You, what do you hope they connect with most?
I want them to like hear themselves in it. Whether they're like been the person like trying to move on too quickly or the person secretly checking someone's Instagram at 2 a.m. I want them to know that they're not alone. Like sometimes the most empowering thing you can do is like to be honest about how you're actually feeling. It's the scariest thing to do, is just being honest. And I want people to be like, hey, if she can write a song about it and put it out in, you know, into the world for a lot of people to hear, you know, I can be honest and I can be vulnerable. And also, you know, I like I said, I take my music and I take my thoughts and I write it into music. And I hope that people can see, like, you can also do that, even if that's painting or if that's pottery or just like putting your feelings into, you don't have to sit with it in your mind. You can create with it. And I think I just want to resonate and help people through that.
Great stuff, Sophia. So you've already achieved so much in a short space of time. And what can fans look forward to from Sophia Frank in the months ahead?
So firstly, we're dropping another song this month. On the 26th. It's called Hey Denny. So there's just a lot of music more coming. Like I've been working on the past few months, like on a lot of new singles with 3 different producers. And I'm really focusing on building a world around the songs, not necessarily just releasing tracks. Like fans can definitely expect more like storytelling, more visuals, more live performances, and definitely a few surprises. Like I'm only getting started, and I had a conversation 2 weeks ago with Jono, another producer, is incredibly talented as well. And we've been working on a complete new sound. Like, I usually focus on my pop or my pop rock. And I've been trying to create a unique sound to Sophia Frank. And we've really been tapping into that. So that will only come next year. Because as in, like, what I've learned as a creative, you have to pre-plan. So I've got the next year and a half planned out, because I want to create that momentum. And at the end of the day, I want to create a community. You know, I want loads of people that love red and glitter and chaos and glamour to come together and just, you know, come to the shows and have fun and dance, and also just feel these real feelings together.
Great stuff, Sophia. And before we wrap up, do you perhaps have a message for your listeners and everyone supporting your musical journey? Also, while we're at that, where can the listeners perhaps find Older Than You as well as your other music and follow you online?
Okay, so firstly, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank especially my mom and my dad. I want to thank my friends. I want to thank my boyfriend. And every stream, every message, every person who shares the song with a friend, it genuinely means the world. Being an independent artist, it's about building a community. Even if it's slow, you're building that community. And I'm grateful to everyone who has chosen to be part of this journey. And you can find me online. You can find me at Sophia Frank. And on TikTok, Instagram, I also started a YouTube channel where I like document my little journeys on like traveling and my shows, and just saying thank you. Like, I don't think anyone understands how much it means to just listen and being invested, and that follow means the world. And you can find me on every streaming platform. I'm everywhere, girl. I'm everywhere.
Wow.
I'm taking over.
That's really great stuff, Sophia, and thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story.
Thank you.
So it's really awesome having you with us today, and also to the listeners. That is our South African pop artist Sophia Frank chatting with us about her musical journey and her brand new single called Older Than You. So be sure to stream the song on your favorite digital music platform and keep an eye out for what's next for this talented artist.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.